मूलं गुरोर्पदं मन्त्रमूलं गुरोर्वाक्यं भक्तिमूलं गुरोर्कृपा। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुर् गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। अहो बकीयं स्तनकालकूटं ययदप्यसाध्वी लेभे गतिं धात्रुचितां ततोऽन्यम् कं वा दयालुं शरणं व्रजेम। नमः कमलनाभाय नमः कमलमालिने नमः कमलपादाय नमस्ते कमलेक्षण यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तग्वं ह देवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। Let's start by singing from Prem Ras Madhira. It's Milan Madhuri number 61. You have the handouts. Sakhi Sunu Ek Dina Ki Baat. एक दिना की बात सुनो सखी
एक दिना की बात सखी सुनो।
एक दिना की बात सखी सुनो।
एक दिना की बात सखी सुनो।
हाथ रही तट तरणी तनुजा
नाथ रही तट तरणी तनुजा
तरणी तनुजा
तरणी तनुजा
आयो श्यामल गात सखी सुनो।
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 जो सुख भयो लखत सखी अखियान।
जो सुख भयो लखत सखी अखियान।
लखत सखी अखियान।
लखत सखी अखियान।
सो मुख कही नहीं जात सखी सुनो।
सो मुख कही नहीं जात सखी सुनो।
एक दिना की बात सखी सुनो।
एक दिना की बात सखी सुनो।
तोरी मोरी जोरी इमे कही।
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 चल्यो मंद मुस्कात सखी सुनो।
चलो मंद मुस्कात सखी सुनो।
चल्यो मंद मुस्कात सखी सुनो।
चलो मंद मुस्कात सखी सुनो।
एक दिना की बात सखी सुनो।
एक दिना की बात सखी सुनो।
हाँ मंद सुरन सो इमे कहा।
मंद सुरन सो इमे कहा।
मंद सुरन सो इमे कहा।
मंद सो इमिका
श्याम गौर कसनात सखी सुनो।
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 एक दिना की बात सखी सुनो।
एक दिना की बात सखी सुनो।
अस क्यों ना हो, अस क्यों कही कृपालु सोचियो।
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 अब मन मोहा पछितात सखी सुनो।
अब मन महा पछितात सखी सुनो।
अब मन महा पछितात सखी सुनो।
अब मन महा पछितात सखी सुनो।
एक दिना की बात सखी सुनो।
एक दिना की बात सखी सुनो।
A gopi is recounting a meeting with Shyam Sundar. She's telling a good friend of hers, Sakhi, listen to something that happened one day. I had gone to bathe in the Yamuna River when I saw a dark complexioned boy. The happiness derived by the eyes in seeing him cannot be expressed by the tongue. I cannot express the happiness that I felt when I saw him. This boy passed by me saying very quietly, "You and I make a good couple." I too said to him very quietly, "You are dark, I am fair, there is no match." Jagadguru Shri Kripaluji Maharaj says in the words of the Gopi, "Why did I say this to him? Now I am regretting my words." So a gopi says to her good friend, "Sakhi, something very, very big happened one day. Just a couple of days ago, something very, very big happened. It's so big that nothing as big as this had ever happened to me. Her friend asks, "What is it? What happened?" "I went to the Yamuna." The gopi said, "That's your big news? You go every day to the Yamuna. We all go every day." The gopis would go to Yamuna to bathe, to wash their clothes. They used to go there to fetch water because there was no running water in the house. So they would go to the Yamuna. All of them would go. So that's nothing big. No, listen. When I went there, I saw a boy, very attractive, a dark-colored boy. I had never seen him before. And if you ask me why I looked at him, I would tell you that I didn't have any intention in looking at him. I just saw, because I have eyes and we do tend to look at people, in a neutral sort of way, I looked at him. I didn't look at him with love or with enmity. I was just neutral. So as soon as this gopi, the second gopi, hears this, she thinks to herself, "Oh, you don't have to say anything more. I understand what you're going to say. I know who that dark complexioned boy is, and you see, I am in love with him, so I have a very good idea as to what has happened to you." But she doesn't say this to her friend. She says, "Now go on, tell me more." So this gopi has met with Shyamsundar. It's her first meeting with him. And she has fallen in love with Shyamsundar in the first glance. Now, when the individual soul has attained the Supreme Soul, there are two states that the individual soul, let's say the gopi, who is a realized soul, a gopi, not an aspiring devotee, a true devotee. So after meeting with Shyamsundar, after attaining him, the gopi may go into one of the two moods, states I should say. One is that whether she is with Shyamsundar or away from him, she always feels that he is with her. In sanyog, meaning in union with him, and viyog, separation from him, she feels that she is with him, that he is right in front of her, that he is with her. And the other state is that whether she is with Shyamsundar or away from him, she always feels that she is separated from him. First one is nitya sanyog. She is always feeling that he is with her. The other one is nitya viyog. She always feels that she is separated from him. The greatest saints, the greatest caliber of saints are the Rasik saints, and they have said that separation from Shri Krishna, viyog, is much greater, very much greater than sanyog. Viraha is preferred to sanyog. That sounds like it should be the opposite, that you should want to be always with Shyamsundar. The Rasik saints say no. You should ask for viraha. You should ask for separation from him. Sangama viraha vikalpe varamiha varaho na sangatasmat sangesa ihatathaikas tribhuvanam api tanmayam virahe. These are the words of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. He says viraha, separation, is greater than sanyog. Because when the gopi is with Shyamsundar, she experiences his presence, that he is only in one place. He's not everywhere. He is at one place at one time. That he's standing towards the east. She doesn't see him standing towards the west, north, south, as well as being in the east. No, she sees that he's standing towards the east. But when she is separated from him, then she sees him everywhere. East, west, north, south. She sees him in all 10 directions. मिलन में एक दिशा दिखे श्याम श्यामा, विरह में दसों दिशा दिखे आठों यामा. Shama Sham Geet. Sri Maharaj Ji says that the same, in union you see him only in one place at one time, but when separated from him in viraha, in separation, you see him in all the 10 directions. This is why the Rasik saints prefer viyog to sanyog. They prefer viraha, separation. Jit dekhu tit sham mai hai. Saint Tulsidas says, Jit dekhu tit sham mai hai. I'm sorry, Surdas ji says this. Sham mai hai. Jit dekhu tit sham mai hai. Sham mai hai. Wherever I look, I see Sham Sundar. And Tulsidas ji says, Siya Ram Maya Sab Jag Jani, Karahu Pranam Jori Jugpani. Perceiving Sita and Ram to be in every direction, I fold my hands in reverence. Jori Jugpani. Batan mein, ghatan mein, bithin mein, bagan mein, बेलिन में बाटिका में फूलन में बन में, धरन में दीवारिन में देहरी दरीचन में, हीरन में हारन में भूषण में तन में, कानन में कुंजन में गोपिन में गायन में, गोकुल में गोधन में दामिनी में घन में, जहाँ जहाँ देखूं तहाँ श्याम ही दिखाई देत, मेरो श्याम छाए रह्यो नैनन में मन में. The gopi says, I see Sham Sundar inside the house, outside the house. I see him indoors, I see him in Vrindavan, outdoors. I see him in the Yamuna, I see him in the trees, I see him everywhere. I see him in the flowers, I see him in every particle of creation. When Sham Sundar was 11 and a half years of age, he left the gopis and he went off to Mathura and then to Dwarika because he had many things to do. So when he left them, the gopis were separated from him. They arrived at a state in which they saw him everywhere. Their love intensified so much that they were able to see Sham Sundar everywhere. So when Uddhav came to the gopis carrying a message from Sham Sundar had sent Uddhav to tell the gopis, to give the gopis a message, not from Sham Sundar, but Shri Krishna had said, Uddhav, go to these gopis, they are illiterate women folk, and they love me very much, but I'm not going back to them, and they cry for me. They cry for me. They feel that separation from me. They're suffering pangs of separation. So you go and give them knowledge. So Uddhav went to the gopis thinking that he would enlighten them, but he became enlightened himself. He understood that Shri Krishna was saying, give them your knowledge, meaning place your dry, hollow knowledge of Brahma at their lotus feet and learn about love from them. So Uddhav, when he went to the gopis, he said to them, you are feeling separated from Sham Sundar. And they said, who told you that? We are seeing him everywhere. Uddhav, don't you see him perched on the branch of that tree over there, the mango tree? Uddhav looked and looked. He looked very closely. He could not see Sham Sundar. Another said, Uddhav, there he is. He was just running by. Didn't you see him? No. So Uddhav soon realized that the gopis were at such a high position that they could see Sham Sundar everywhere. this sort of happens in the world also. Let's say there is a person who is missing her loved one, her son, very, very much. She misses him so much, that she starts experiencing that he is right there with her. She says, "Beta," but that's her imagination. Her attachment is so strong to her son that he is thousands of miles away, but she feels that he is right with her. But it's an imagination, it's not real. But when the gopi feels that Shyamsundar is right there in front of her, that's not an imagination. Because Shyamsundar is all-knowing, he's omniscient. Secondly, he is omnipresent. Thirdly, he is sarvadrashta. He witnesses everything. So knowing the heart of the gopi and being omnipresent, when the gopi misses him so much that she feels he's right there with her, that's not an imagination, that is the reality. So that is one possibility, that the gopi is feeling that Shyamsundar is always with her. Now, contrary to that, the gopi feels, whether he is with her or not, or away from her, she feels that she's always separated from him. Adrishte darshanot drishte. When she doesn't see him, she feels separated from him. I want to see him. Drishte, when she sees him, Vishlesha bhiruta, she becomes afraid. Oh, I'll be separated from him. He will leave me. So there's always viraha in the gopi's heart, always. Whether he's there or not, she always feels separated from him. And Rasik saints, the greatest of all saints, have said that this stage is much superior, much greater than the stage of feeling united with him at all times. Because in this stage, the gopi, the devotee, sees Shyamsundar everywhere, all the time. All the time. So this gopi in question, she's telling her friend, I saw Shyamsundar, I saw this boy, and what she's saying is, I felt very attracted to him. As soon as I saw him, I fell in love with him. And the Sakhi, the other Sakhi, because she's also in love with Shyamsundar, and because she's in love with Shyamsundar, she wants to hear something or the other about Shyamsundar. So she says, go on, tell me more. But the first gopi says, I cannot. I can't tell you anything more. But why not? I'm your good friend. I'm your intimate Sakhi. You can share your innermost feelings with me. You can tell me how you felt when you saw him. No, Sakhi, it's not that. It's not that I'm trying to keep a secret from you. It's just that I cannot express in words what I saw. I cannot. I cannot tell you what I saw because my eyes are the ones that saw him. And my eyes cannot speak. My tongue can speak, but the tongue has no eyes. The tongue cannot see. Gira anayan anayan binubani, Tulsidas Ji has said. Gira, the tongue, anayan, has no eyes, so it cannot speak. And nayan, the eyes, binubani, they don't have the power to speak. So how can I tell you what I saw? Now, the gopi is saying that she cannot express the beauty of Shyamsundar because that beauty is unlimited, it's divine. It cannot be expressed in material words. But the fact is, even if you're talking about something very material, like the rasgulla, a sweet, a delicacy, you have eaten a rasgulla and someone asks you, what is a rasgulla like? And you'll say it's sweet. What does sweet mean? Well, have you eaten barfi? No. Have you eaten peda? Jalebi? Chocolate? Ice cream? Sugar? You've never eaten sugar? Never. I know of a devotee who had never given sugar to her child. So the child didn't know the taste of sugar. The child didn't know the taste of spices. But it didn't take long for her to become addicted to the sugar and to spices. And Shri Maharaj Ji said, "Ab chatori ban gayi hai." She's become addicted to taste. So at a certain point, how long could the mother keep her away from sweets and spices? So anyhow, so if someone has never tasted anything sweet, how will you explain the taste of rasgulla to this person? You cannot. And that's a material thing. How can the gopi explain what she has seen, that beauty of Shyam Sundar, about which Sri Maharaj Ji says, Anupam Roop. Anupam Roop Neelamani Kori. The sapphire complexion Shyam Sundar, his beauty is unique, it is unmatched, it is like no other. The gopi has no beauty to compare Shyam Sundar's beauty with. She has never seen anything even mildly as beautiful as Shyam Sundar. So she says, I cannot tell you what I have seen. It is enough to say that Shyam Sundar is so beautiful that he becomes attracted by his own beauty. Ratnasthale janucharah kumarah sankrantamatmiya mukharavindam adatu kamastadalabha khedan niriksha dhatri vadanam rurud. Little toddler Krishna was walking on all fours. He was crawling on all fours, going towards Mother Yashoda. And on the way, as he was crawling on all fours, he saw his own reflection in the floor. The floor in Yashoda and Nanda Baba's house, it was studded with precious gems and stones. So he could see his reflection. When he saw his own reflection, he was mesmerized by his own beauty. And he stopped crawling. He just started looking without blinking his eyes. And then he tried to embrace himself, thinking, I have never seen such a beautiful child. I wish to embrace him. When he could not embrace himself, his own reflection, he started to cry. Yashoda Maya came running, and because he does not speak yet, he could not tell her what he is crying about, but she understood that he had become mesmerized by his own beauty, looking at his own reflection in the ground. He becomes attracted by his own beauty. He's not only Swajana Mohan, he not only attracts the hearts of his devotees, he is Swamana Mohan also. He attracts his own heart with his own beauty. He is Swajana Mohan, he is Madana Mohan, Madana meaning Kamdev, the god of beauty. Even Kamdev becomes unconscious when he sees the beauty of Shyam Sundar. But Shyam Sundar attracts even his own heart. Jagadguru Shri Kripaluji Maharaj, Shri Maharaj Ji has said that Shri Krishna is unfortunate in that he cannot really taste in full the nectar of his beauty. He can taste the nectar of Radha Rani's beauty, and Radha Rani cannot taste the nectar of her own beauty. She can taste the nectar of Shyam Sundar's beauty. But the gopis are the blessed ones because they can taste the nectar of both Radha and Krishna's beauty. The gopis are at an advantage. So one day, Shyam Sundar was standing on the bank of the Yamuna, arms linked with Radha Rani, and he happened to look into the water and he saw his reflection. And he was about to lose consciousness and fall into the water when Radha Rani saw this and she held him back. And she thought to herself, Oh, Priyatam Shamsundar has become attracted by his own beauty. Rupa dekhi apanar Krishnero hoy chamatkar aswadite mane uthe kam. Shamsundar has a desire, an intense desire to taste the nectar of his own beauty. The gopi says, how can I tell you what I saw? How can I express in words the beauty that I saw in that dark complexioned boy? Now the gopi has become attracted by Shamsundar. That's understandable. But now Shamsundar has also become attracted by the gopi. Because it cannot work one way. Shamsundar also becomes attracted to the gopi. This is due to Yogamaya. That makes impossible possible. Shamsundar, Shri Krishna, God, cannot become attracted to anyone. He does not have a mind. He is without a mind. He cannot form any attachments. It's impossible. Aprano hyamana. He does not have a mana. He does not have a mind. He does not have any desire. We have desires. Because we are lacking. We are lacking something that we have been looking for countless lives, since beginning this time. And until we possess that thing, we will keep on looking, we will keep on desiring. Until we find unlimited and everlasting happiness, we will keep on desiring. Why would Shamsundar desire anything or anyone? So he creates a mind. And he, for the sake of the gopi, he also becomes attracted to the gopi. Imagine, Shamsundar, who does not become attracted to even Mahalakshmi. Mahalakshmi attracts everyone with her beauty, but Shamsundar does not become attracted. When the Kshir Sagar, the milky ocean, was churned, 14 gems came out of it. Mahalakshmi came out of the churning of the ocean. And when she came out, everyone, humans, devtas, demons, everyone, rishis, munis, the sages, ascetics, everyone became attracted. She was holding a flower garland in her hand. She wanted to find a suitable match. She looked around and she thought, Kvachichirayur nahi shila mangalam. She looked and she thought, okay, this one does not look, this one is not auspicious. This one is auspicious, but his lifespan is very short. And she kept rejecting them one after the other in her own mind. And she saw Shankar Bhagwan. He's got everything, but he has a very frightening look about him. And she saw Shamsundar. And she said, he is perfect. He has unlimited beauty. He's auspicious. His look is wonderful. I will accept him. But he's not even looking at me. Everyone was looking at Mahalakshmi, but Shamsundar was not looking at her. And Mahalakshmi thought, it doesn't matter. I shall accept him, and he will have to accept me. She placed the flower garland around Shamsundar's neck. And it is his law that he accepts the one who accepts him. Sakrideva prapannaya tavasmiti chayachate abhayam sarva bhutebhyo dadamye tadvratam mam. Valmiki Ramayana. It is his law that he accepts the surrendered soul. So when Mahalakshmi surrendered to him and accepted him, Shamsundar also accepted her. So who is Shamsundar? Who is Krishna? The one who rejects even Mahalakshmi. But he is becoming attracted to the gopi. And what about the gopi? The greatest gopis are the ones who reject even God. This gopi is someone who rejects even God. When Sri Krishna was performing Ras during the spring season, then he disappeared. While the Ras was going on, he disappeared from the gopis' midst. The gopis cried for him. They suffered intensely due to separation from him. And when he heard their cries, his heart melted and he reappeared in their midst. But when he reappeared in their midst, he did not appear in front of them as Shamsundar. He appeared before them as Mahavishnu, God, a majestic God, four-armed, bearing the kunj and the mace, Sudarshan Chakra and the lotus flower in his forehands. And all the gopis retreated. They went back and they started whispering to each other, who is he? Why is he here? Here we are suffering so much and we are not in a state to be seen by someone. And who is this man? He is not known to us. Why is he here? When Shamsundar, as Mahavishnu, when he saw this, he said, but you were crying for me, so I'm here. And they said, please, don't speak like this. Don't talk like this. We don't know you. You're a stranger to us. Shamsundar said, but I am your beloved. And they said, mind your language, sir. You are a stranger to us. They all covered their faces with their ghungat. They became so shy and they felt that it was not proper for him to be there in the midst of all these women. So ultimately, Shamsundar was defeated. He said, look, I am Bhagwan, I'm telling you. And Lalita Sakhi said, okay, let's humor him. Okay, she said, all right, sir, you say you're Bhagwan, so God gives boons, he gives Ashirvad. Will you give us an Ashirvad? Will you grant us a desire? And he said, of course, I will fulfill your desire. What is it that you desire? And they all said, not only Lalita, but all of them said in unison, Shamsundar. Shamsundar said, same old thing again. I'm telling you, I'm your beloved. They would have none of that. So when he shed that form of Mahavishnu and he appeared to them as their beloved Shamsundar, then they all rushed towards him. So these gopis are the ones who reject even Bhagwan. They are so great. And as we talk about the gopis, we should know that there are gopis who are satisfied with just seeing Shamsundar. They just look at him and that's enough for them. Many of you have heard this from Sri Maharaj Ji, that Zere Diwar Khade Hain. Zere Diwar Khade Hain, Tera Kya Lete Hain? Zere Diwar Khade Hain, Tera Kya Lete Hain? Dekh lete hain, tapish dil ki bujha lete hain. These gopis are the ones, they just look at Shamsundar and they say, yes, that's enough for me. This is enough for me. I've seen him. He doesn't have to look at me. He doesn't have to embrace me. I don't need his touch. I mean, if he wishes to give me his embrace, that is fine, but I don't ask him for that. They are so advanced, they are so selfless that they are satisfied by just looking at him. But then there are others who say, no, I want the embrace as well. I want his touch. So the greatest of these gopis, they are Lalita, Vishakha, Chitra, Rangdevi, Sudevi, Champakrata, Indulekha, Tungvidya, the Asht Mahasakhis. And the rest they are under these gopis. They are subservient to these most selfless gopis. So the gopi is telling her good friend, I saw Shamsundar. I saw him, but I cannot express in words what I have seen. And now this gopi is thinking, and she's not saying this, that I told him something I shouldn't have told him. And then she confides in her friend. You know, he said to me very quietly, he said to me, you and I make a good match. But I was so scandalized by this that how dare he is unknown to me and he's saying this to me. On the one hand, I was really upset by what he was saying. I was shocked. On the other hand, I was really happy hearing this. But I couldn't show him my happiness, that I'm so happy you're saying this to me. Because that's something a shameless person would say. So I said to him, with my sense of decorum, I said to him, this is bad. There's no match over here. And I said to him, you're so dark and I'm so fair. But Shyam Sundar is thinking, oh Gopi, I have told you the eternal truth. Dva suparna sayuja sakhaya samanam vriksham parikhasva jate tayoranya pippalam swadvatya nashnan nanyo abhichakashiti. Mundakopanishad. The Vedas say that the individual soul and the Supreme Soul are two birds perched on the same branch of a tree. And they are sakhas, they are eternal friends. They have always been together. There's only one difference between them. There is one difference between them, and that is that the Jivatma bird, it is always tasting the fruits of its actions, whereas Paramatma, the Supreme Soul, that bird does not eat fruits of that tree. We individual souls, we have been performing actions since, well, for countless lives, and we are always tasting the fruits of our actions. Punyena punyalokam nayati papena papam ubhabhyam eva manushya lokam. Prashnopanishad. We are tasting the fruits of our virtuous actions and sinful deeds. So that one bird is tasting the fruits of the tree, the other one is just looking on. This bird is looking on at this other bird. Paramatma is always looking at Jivatma, but does not eat any fruits. So is Shyam Sundar wrong in saying, oh Gopi, you and I make a good couple? No. It is in the Vedas, the eternal Vedas. The infallible Vedas say that the individual soul and Supreme Soul are eternal friends. But the Gopi has said, she has rejected Shyam Sundar outwardly. Shyam Sundar knows the Gopi's heart. So Shyam Sundar has gone away saying, you and I make a good couple. The Gopi has said her piece, but Shyam Sundar he knows, and he is thinking, oh Gopi, you will regret your words. Because from now on, I will be on your mind 24 hours a day. Shyam Sundar has left a little spark in the Gopi's heart. That spark is going to become a little flame. That flame is going to become a big flame. That big flame is going to be a roaring fire. There's going to be a fire of separation in the Gopi's heart. She will look for excuses to meet with him. She's a married woman. She's a married Gopi. And she will want to meet with him. Where is that dark complexioned boy that I saw? I cannot get him out of my mind. And she will make all sorts of excuses. She will say to her mother-in-law, Mataji, I would like to go out. Where are you going, Bahu? Where do you want to go? Mataji, I want to go out and sell some of this dahi and some of this chaach. I want to supplement the family income, Mataji. And the mother-in-law thinks, how wonderful my Bahu is. My daughter-in-law is so concerned with family expenses. We have so many expenses. She wants to increase the family income. So she says, Jao, jao beti, jao. Go ahead. And the daughter-in-law, the Gopi, she finishes all her chores early in the morning. She finishes everything, cleaning the house. She feeds the cows and the calves. She does everything she's supposed to do. And then she says, now I'm going out to sell butter, buttermilk, chach, all these milk products. And many of these gopis, many of them have the same idea, and so then they meet outside Nanda Baba and Yashoda's house. You would think that they would be savvy enough to not go and try to sell milk and milk products to someone who has 900,000 cows. They have about 1 million cows, but the gopis cannot think of going to anyone else. They go to Nanda Baba and Yashoda's house because that's where they'll find their beloved. So this gopi is going to find many excuses to go and see Shyam Sundar. She will find many excuses to get the divine touch of Shyam Sundar. She will go to the Yamuna and she will look around, and when she sees him, she will pretend that she is slipping and she will let out a cry, "Oh, save me," as if she's drowning in the Yamuna. And then Shyam Sundar will hear her, and then he'll rescue her, and she will have attained his divine touch. She will make many excuses because he has left this little spark within her. That spark will become a roaring fire one day. She will feel the separation from him. So this is what the gopi is expressing to her friend, that I saw this boy and I became attracted to him. And the other gopi, she knows all about what this one is going through because something similar has happened to her also. She's also a married woman, and many of the gopis were married women. Some were unmarried, but most of them were married women. Why? Because the married women could not, there's a science behind this, the reason why Shyam Sundar got most of them married, the married ones could not see Shyam Sundar, they could not meet with him whenever they wanted, obviously because they were married. And so there were restrictions. Mother-in-law's there, father-in-law's there, husband is there, and he keeps a big stick. The gopis always say to Shyam Sundar, my husband is coming, he's not too far away, and he has a very big stick, a very thick stick. He's a gwalbal, he's a cowherd. So the married gopis have restrictions put on them. Therefore, when they see Shyam Sundar, they value that meeting very much. They place great value on that. They don't take him for granted. As opposed to the unmarried gopi, who is more likely to take him for granted because she doesn't have so many restrictions, so she can see him freely, as opposed to the married gopi. So these married gopis, their love for Krishna became much stronger than the love that the unmarried gopis had for Krishna. You know, if you try to contain water, it's a reservoir, and then you put a dam over there, the water is restricted. When you remove that restriction, that barrier, what happens? That water rushes. There's a very strong current of that water. The water flows with great speed. And so when the married gopis, there are so many restrictions placed on them, when their love for Shyam Sundar just grew and grew. Their love for Shyam Sundar was the greatest of all. So these two are married gopis, and so one gopi is saying to the other, I went to the Yamuna, I saw a dark complexioned boy, and I fell in love with him. And the other gopi knows exactly what this one is talking about. Now they will talk about Shyam Sundar many times, all day long. Whenever they get a chance, they will speak about him, because you always want to hear about the one you love. So the second gopi is feeling very happy that this one has also fallen in love with Shyam Sundar. So now they're in the same boat. They will laugh together, they will cry together, they will talk about Shyam Sundar, they will spend many blissful moments in talking about their beloved and hearing from each other about their beloved. बोलिए गोपी प्रेम की जय, श्रीमद् सद्गुरु सरकार की जय। बोलिए प्रेम रस मदिरा की जय। जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे।